Welcome to a very special edition of the Tilehurst End Podcast. It just so happens to be our 400th episode as well, and we have an incredibly special guest joining us this evening for this one. It's not Ross, he's not special enough for this one, but it is, of course, Mr. Noel Hunt, our newly appointed first team manager at Reading Football Club. Noel, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Very good, guys. How are you guys?
We're all right. Really well. Yeah, Ross, you good? You good?
Yeah, this is the best Christmas gift I could have asked for, so I'm very happy.
It was a little bit awkward because we turn the screen on, we're basically wearing the same tops, myself and Ross, so it's like, in terms of like what we're wearing.
I've just got out of mine. I've literally just got out of mine, so
there you go.
I'm not far behind you.
Could have been triplets, but yeah,
Macron can't complain at all.
We're gonna talk to Noel a little bit about what's been going on over the last 2 weeks. It's all been pretty quiet for you, Noel. So I'm sure there's not much to go over really, but we're going to sort of chew the fat over what's been happening in the last couple of weeks and obviously last season as well in your different role. Going to sort of take it in turns. I mean, if you've listened to the Ruben Sellers interview and the James Oliver Pierce interview that we did, earlier on in the season and this year, then you'll kind of know the format really. Regular listeners will know that, but it's just very, very privileged to have our manager on. It's very few League One managers come on their fans podcast, so we're very, very lucky to have you here, Noel, and we appreciate it. It's a busy time of year for everybody. So thanks for jumping on this Monday evening before Christmas. Should be a good one hopefully. So we'll get your kind of thoughts on that and go through it. Big thanks as always to ZC Said Films. They've kind of propped us up again this Christmas, as they do every Christmas. We really appreciate their support in terms of their advertising and their sponsorship with us as well. We're going to get into it then. Episode 400 with Noel Hunt. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back in just a moment. Alrighty, welcome back to episode 400 of the Tilehurst End Podcast. Quick sorry for me, I've got proper man flu, so if my voice cuts out, I haven't lost it completely. It's just because I've been proper ill over the last couple of days. I was saying that he's had a cough for a couple of weeks as well, so I think the only fit and healthy one at the moment is Ross, so he's gonna help us out with that moving forward. But I guess really, Noel, the first place to start is kind of going back in time, sort of pre your coaching and managerial career, before you came back to us, really. Mm-hmm. When did you kind of realise and feel that you wanted to be on the other side of the ball, so to speak, in terms of, finishing playing and not, moving into punditry or anything else, but actually going into coaching and now obviously management? Like what was the catalyst for you in terms of saying, yeah, actually, do you know what? I want to be on that side of the game now moving forward.
Yeah, wow. I think I kind of fell into it, to be fair. In terms of, I got to the stage, obviously everyone knows about I had an injury here at the club that kept me out for just over a year. And within that time, I got into coaching. Brendan was the manager at the time, and then obviously Eamon was head of the academy. So between Brendan sending me to go watch games and me wanting to do something in the afternoons, in terms of something productive, and if I could learn by going and coaching with the kids in the evenings, just to get myself out of the house, really, because I was mobile, but I couldn't do a lot in terms of my knee. It was a massive help for me, and that really kind of kickstarted me into the coaching side of things. Up at the Dome and the Astro and whatnot, late nights with Peter Scott, funny enough, who I worked with for the last 2.5-3 years. He was with the 14s at the time, and a couple of friends of mine since then, Chris Sweetman and whatnot. It was really from there it kind of snowballed into when I left the club. After the season finished, that I tried to continue it on to coaching, with going to see with the kids at Leeds a little bit, at Wigan, at Portsmouth, and I kind of took the role of, as I got older, being that one in and around the dressing room, the helper and the confidence giver, and make sure that the dressing room was in the right frame of mind, in the right place, because I think it's so important if you want to go and contest and win things, that the dressing room is worth 15 plus points alone, and that's so important that's right. The characters are right in that dressing room. Tried to make sure that we had everyone on board there and everyone was going the right way, even if you weren't playing, that you were seen to be doing the right things and happy for the ones ahead of you. Obviously you can have disappointments, but making sure we had the right mentality inside them dressing rooms was really important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like you come from so for me, I'm 30, and you are one of the like golden age legends for me. Everyone, the guys who are a little bit older than me have like the 106 team, but that 2012, 2013 team for me is really important to me as well. So, for being such a Reading legend, how could you have started your career with Swindon of all places?
I thought to come up here. So I actually started in Ireland about 8 months before that.
Okay.
Coaching a manager, assistant manager, and playing at the same time with my hometown club. And we ended up finishing in the European spots. Had a great team there, again, a great dressing room, great people around the place. It was from there it kind of progressed on to coming back home to Reading, and then making sure that I continued my work that I was doing. So when the opportunity came up with Swindon with Richie Wellens at the time, it was an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. Did he give you a call when you got the Reading job, Richie? Because he's
Yeah,
obviously
he did. I still speak to him regularly. He's a great guy.
nice.
I hold him in great regard. A really close friend of mine, and that's the most important thing. And from that, it's important that these people are really strong characters for me. Even though now we're managing different teams, I learned so much from Richie in terms of how he sees the game. We both have the same ideas. How he goes and executes it. So he's a really fantastic manager and coach.
Awesome.
Has he said you start playing Charlie a bit more?
We've had obviously several conversations about Chaz.
Yeah.
He's a really good footballer, really intelligent. And he's had a few injuries and a few problems with that. Like, so getting himself back to a level of fitness is really key for Charlie. And if he does that, he's got a chance.
I mean, let's fast forward a little bit. Obviously, you came back to the club in what, 22? After what essentially was a decade away from the football club. Yeah, I'm conscious we've only got a limited amount of time, so I'm not going to go tell us about all the changes that you saw when you came back in 22. How different a club was it when you walked back through the door in the role that you had there to when you left it in 2012?
Yeah, there was a difference. And, I think the place can get diluted sometimes with different opinions, different people, different ways into the club that weren't there before. In terms of people maybe probably at the time working at the club, agents coming in, and it just didn't feel right, at the time. And but that's all gone. Thank God that's all left over the last after I came in, probably 6 to 8 months. That kind of got there was opinions brought up in a meeting, and it got shut down now, which is really important. And then off the back of that, I think it was important to make sure that we had the right players and the right characters in the building for the right team, and that was really important. Again, even at our level at the time at the 21s, that we made sure that we kept the ones that deserved to be there, not the ones that were given a chance because of an opinion of a certain person, that wasn't involved with the football clubs. It goes on a lot of places, but I think from when Mark came in at the time, and then Brian Carey, and obviously Josie was in there. The stronger the numbers became, the better the characters we could employ and we could have inside the building, and that's been a massive part of it, to be honest.
I mean, was it an easy decision to come back at that time? Knowing what you probably knew from the outside of the club in terms of what was going on, and as you said, we don't want to start naming names and whatever, but we kind of read between the lines. Were you quite tentative about walking back through the door, or did you go, no, do you know what, this is where I want to be and this is how I want to do things?
100%. There was no doubt. I had left Doncaster in the November time. I thought, right, I'm going to have 6 months out. I'm going to go visit other clubs. I'm going to have a look at how things are done differently. I'm keen to learn. And then I got the phone call saying, listen, this job's come up. Would you be in? I was like 100% yes. I think I'd only had like 2 weeks off, and I'd said, yeah, listen, get me involved. I'd love to be a part of the football club again. It's obviously home to me. So that's what made it all the easier to go, yes, 1,000,000%.
I'll tell you what, next time Tim's looking for an advertising thing, Reading Football Club, better than 6 months off. That's a pretty good one.
That's good for me. I like that. That's nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
No, I think that's good. So fast forwarding then again to steal Ben's phrase, obviously it's been a whirlwind December, I imagine, for you to go on top of the little cold that you're managing. So no, could you just kind of give us just describe the process of getting the job as the Reading manager?
Yeah, well, it was quite a fast operation as far as I was aware. I had a conversation with Ruben as I spoke to him every day, and it was a Thursday afternoon, evening time, evenish, and he asked me for a conversation. He wanted to have a conversation in private, so went into his office, and at the time, sitting and chatting, and he was like, "Listen, I think things have moved really quickly with the situation at Hull." I was like, oh, "Okay," and he was like, "It's really important that the club is." We feel is left in the right place and with the right hands. I think you should do it. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that. My first reaction was not, because I didn't see it coming at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when he sat there and he said, listen, you know how we do things, and you'll be here every day, and you've been in and around it, and you know the boys, and the older ones are really good, so they just need to keep positive and keep them going. I thought, right, okay. And then after a conversation with, as far as the way Brian Carey came in, and Michael Jokes, and they said, look, we've had the owners or the representatives of the owners on the phone. We think we should do this really quickly and get something out, and we think you're the right one for us. So to have their backing and to have their support was really important, because without that, there's a lot. I felt there's a lot for me to give up, if that made sense.
Yeah.
After having again another conversation with Ruben and a couple of other people, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go with it. It didn't take much convincing, but things are going. With the situation, I'm fully aware of how hard it's been.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in them meetings with Ruben and saying, look, you got to keep going. You're doing great. We've picked up a couple of heavy defeats early on in the season. I said it doesn't matter. We've got the next game to look forward to. The boys will bounce back. We just got to keep doing our work and get a bit of luck with the injuries, and we just got to keep moving forward for the football club. He was great, so he just said the same to me. He goes, you got to keep moving forward. He goes, this is the next step in your career. It's you're he said you're a young coach manager. It's really important that if you want to take this step moving forward, you do it now. And so that was it really, and we came to finished with a good conversation, and went back and forth the club over 6 hours and 7-8 hours, and then the next morning, because obviously we were still on. I didn't know what was happening. Yeah. Took the team for the prep for Wickham. The boys were great, and then we said, right, let's go. And when I came back in, they're like, listen, everything's been done. Let's just get it sorted now and announce it. I thought, wow, okay, that was quick. And that was it. And then it hasn't stopped. We haven't had a minute. We've had game after game after game. This week was the first kind of nearly full week we've had in terms of with the group as a whole. And obviously in that then, people are in, people are out. I've lost 2 or 3 players in that time. And now I know like that. How I was saying to Ruben, you just gotta keep going. You gotta find someone to fill in. It's not a problem. The boys will help them. It's been really interesting, but it's a challenge, no doubt, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. I think honestly, having the person who was with the, a lot of the players who are now playing in the first team with them now is going to be of real benefit in the long term. But before I get onto that, what did Stephen say when he found out that you were going to be the Reading manager?
To be fair, obviously, because he's an agent, he knew quite early because he had heard the rumblings from Hull. So when I phoned him, he was like, I knew. He actually phoned me to say what's going on, what's happening, and is Ruben? If you spoke to Ruben, is he okay? Is he going? What's happening? I said, look, I'm not. I generally hadn't spoke to him about this. Yeah. So then when it started to go on, he was really excited, and he goes, it's going to be tough, that. I said, I know it is. I know that, but it's never the right time. I don't think there's ever a right time. And like I said, like if I want to try my hand at this and have a career in managing, I think it was a right step for me.
Yeah, definitely.
So he was happy. He was happy, excited and happy, as you can imagine.
I mean, you made the point there in the previous answer about leaving something that was effectively quite a safe role. In the club the way it is at the moment, and it's wrong to say there's no expectation because there's expectation in any role, right? But like actually building what you did, and what we'll come on to the under-21s later on in terms of the success that you and your team had last year. But moving from that to what is essentially the hot seat of League One management, at any club, let alone the way that our club is currently in terms of the off the field stuff. Like, there's a lot of bravery there in terms of taking it on, because you could have gone, actually, do you know what, I'm all right. I'll stick with the under-21s and I'll keep and pushing them. I mean, in terms of the block of games that you've had, it's been, obviously the result at Wycombe, which was a really positive result. A 3-0 reverse against Blackpool, which was as we all know was really poor and really disappointing. Walsall sandwiched in there as well, and obviously Lincoln defeat on Saturday. Do you feel like you're getting your philosophy across to the players in terms of how you want them to approach these games, or has it just been, right, I've inherited Ruben Seller's team in terms of how he wants to set them up? Obviously still got the bulk of players minus, quite a lot of injuries that we've had that we've not had previously, to be honest, over the last sort of, season or so. Do you feel that you're still trying to work that out with the players and are they kind of buying into it, or is it still a bit of a transition period in terms of, like, this guy's gone, it's me now, and this is how we want to do it, basically?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, actually, and you've got to be very, very careful, because how they did it with Ruben was successful. You can't say it wasn't. So we tried not to change an awful lot. We haven't changed an awful lot because the players are comfortable with what they do. They understand the press. They know when it's right. They know when it's wrong. They're on the same page. So we'll go back to the Blackpool game. Like, we had got into the final third probably double the amount of times that Blackpool did. Just the goals we gave away were poor in terms of just individual errors that happen at any time, But as well as that, I think teams are now starting to think, right, we can't play out against these because they press, and they win the ball back. So teams are changing now to play against us. They're going more direct.
Yep.
Going with bigger players to try and hurt us that way, which is fine. So we've had to have a look at that and adapt a little bit as well. You look at the squads, you do Blackpool squad, the players they have. It's crazy because I played and won the league with Lee Evans. Now he's won that league two or three times now. And you look at the people like who they have in the team that I've played against, and they're all winning players that have won the league. If not this one, the one above. And you go to Lincoln then as well. You got lads there. Speaking to Shuey after the game, that they've got most of their players have played 200-300 games in the league in the level. They're good, strong teams that have been thereabouts over the last 2-3 years, if not up the level above. So we knew it was going to be tough. We knew it was going to be tough, them games. And then the Lincoln game, we didn't start right, and the boys knew it. They knew straight away. And the younger ones need to learn quickly that when we're away from home, we have to start in the right mindset and the right mentality, because it's important how the game goes. And when we got a foothold in the game, and listen, we can talk about penalties all day, and we can talk about major decisions and handballs, but at the end of the day, Louis gets sent off. It kind of killed us a little bit, just the whole game plan, because we're goal down. We stay until halftime, not a problem. The boys are comfortable, but then you've got a gale force breeze to play against. You've got the away fans, and eventually they broke us down. Having said that, the game could have been changed really quickly on that decision not to give the pen, which is, for me, just the things I said at half time. Stay calm, because they were fuming. The boys have been fuming because it's the second week in a row. Players are the opposition players are laughing because we haven't got a penalty. Because you just got to keep your heads, stay calm, keep working. We'll stay in the game, and if we can stay in the game till 75, funny enough, we can go for it. We can have a go and go a little bit more direct, and we can go and try and salvage something from the game. So the boys believed. Just obviously got caught with the goal in I think it was the 75th minute or 6th minute. But the output and the effort they put in was incredible up to then. Playing with 10 men down against the wind. away from home. It was a real test of character. And I said that after the game. I was listening. I goes, I was how you worked and how you stayed in there for each other, and they eventually got in. But the character you showed, it gives me hope. It gives me hope. So we just got to keep on that page. Things will turn. We got to keep doing the right things in training. Keep the same standards and the same values and the same work ethic, and it'll turn for us. It'll change back in our favour again, and we'll go again on Boxing Day. So that was the whole conversation over the week, really.
I think it's from a fan's point of view, it's been a very rocky period anyway, and I think a lot of us kind of felt like it was sooner rather than later that Ruben would go, and I think the reason I asked that question is because I think there is still question marks. That's a wrong phrase to use, but in terms of how you want your teams to play and be set up and moving forward, and you mentioned those 2 games coming up. It's a nice Christmas period in terms of the players being around with their families and local. I guess most of them live local, and for you as well. And obviously, you said about having the week to just reset and not have Saturday, Tuesday. Those games, I think, for everyone, not we're not, especially for you, but are kind of really important in terms of getting back on track, really. And you kind of mentioned the abilities of the Blackpool and Lincoln team and the experience that they've got. Are there any teams that you look at and go, yeah, actually, John, we want to try and play like them, or is it very much I've got a plan in terms of I'm Noel Hunt and I'm the manager here, and this is how I want my Reading side to play? Are you trying to emulate anyone, or is it just like, actually, I've got my own ideas and I want to put them in place as soon as possible?
No, look, listen, guys, I want to play obviously my way, and the way I've learned to play and learn to that gave me success in the past. I've been so lucky to have so many great managers play different variations of playing, but ideally all play the same way, if that makes sense, in terms of the mindset and the attitude. And I think it's important that I start incorporating that 100%. But like I said to you, like that, the guys have earned the right to keep working at what we're doing, and we're just trying to tweak it a little bit at a time, little ideas, little mindsets, little mentality changes in terms of how to manage games, different time periods and whatnot. And then obviously the way I want to play is I want to play aggressive front foot football. That's how we want to play. That's how I've always played. And it didn't happen overnight, especially when in the wherever I've been. It's a period of time, and it takes that time, and it can be a frustrating period sometimes. But then it clicks, and when it clicks, it's really good, and then it builds and it builds, and then you add to it with characters and players and whatnot. But in terms of that, I like front foot football. I want to be aggressive. I want a team playing and running forward. I've got my own little thing that the lads will learn and will know about. My the battle, the war. How the fight means something, the battle means something, and then the war obviously is the game, and how you see it. Ultimately, the game's about creating and scoring chances. And we want to do that. But obviously we can't. We don't want to go gung ho, because we don't want to leave ourselves exposed. So having the structure behind it, having the insurance and understanding what that's about is really important. So from that kind of bums off seats kind of thing, it's how I've played always, in terms of when I've been a player, when I've been a coach, and when I've been a manager.
Yeah. And you make a really good point too about getting the mindset right with the players right away. Cause we're asking you kind of what's your coaching philosophy? And I think a lot of people interpret that as how do you want to set up in a 4-4-2 or a 4-3, or however, and all these kinds of things. But that's just one element, obviously, of coaching, and the mentality and the mental side of the game, I think, is super important. And I think that given what's going on with the club, you prioritizing installing that ethic, I think, is really, really important. Speaking of successful teams that you've been a part of and coaching and things like that, why was bringing Nigel Gibbs back to the club important for your management?
Where do you start? For me, he's the best. He's the best coach that I've worked with. Along with Peter Scott, really good coach that we have in the academy, and his experience. He's just come back from Greece. He was working with Claude Makaleli. And these are the kind of names that he's been working for and under. And I trust him with my life, and I trust him with the team, and he's amazingly good at what he does.
Yeah.
His sessions are all relevant to the game, the detail he puts into them, and together when we go through what we're doing for training and whatnot, it's really good because he has some great ideas, and we go through it and we bounce off each other. And he's worked with people at Champions League level. To have him at the club is a real privilege, and to have him by my side along with Ledge is a real honour. Really, I feel really strong with the team we have.
Yeah, definitely. And if just for anyone who doesn't know, Nigel Gibbs is back at the club. Nigel Gibbs was was he an assistant coach under Brian?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. And then he was at Tottenham as assistant manager, assistant coach to Ryan Mason.
Yep.
Paul Clement, yeah. So he's his resume speaks for itself.
I love the two people, like, that definitely speaks for itself. But the two people mentioned here are Claude Makelele and Ryan Mason, which are two names that I haven't heard together many times before. Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Ledgerwood there briefly. I mean, how easy was it for you to go, I want you as part of the first team setup here in terms of the job that he was doing and the role that he was doing, and then bringing him back into the mix in terms of, or bringing him up to the mix, if you like, in terms of the first team coach and stuff. Like, how easy was that for you to go, come on, mate, give me a hand?
Yeah. Listen, he jumped out. To be fair, he didn't even think. He's a great guy. I know him obviously a long time. He's still the same. He's calm. He's calculated, but he's a winner. He wants to win, and I think throughout my career, I've been so blessed and lucky to win things. Most places I've went, and to surround yourself with winners and winning people is really important. It's down to people to come with you on your journey. We all have a common goal. We all want to win. It might not happen straight away. You're building the foundations for, down the road, long term, the future of the club, the future of your team. That you want to have a team that's competitive, consistent, and exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking then, well, Ben, sorry, I was going to dip into the U1 stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, go for it. I was just gonna, before you do that, are there plans to add anybody else to the coaching mix at the moment, or is it like, I've picked them, that's it, that's what we're going with? Because obviously,
this is it.
Tony
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I know. I mean, listen, everyone wants to have a back in staff, but we at the moment aren't at that. With the way the club is at the moment, and the situation of obviously with the finances, it's more than enough for us.
Yeah.
But I must mention though, I've got obviously Alex Forza. He's in there. He's our analyst. He's integral to what we do. He's a great guy. He's been at the club a long time now, and he is sensational about in terms of his analytics and how he sees the game and his reports, his post, his pre-match stuff. He's behind the scenes 24/7 putting things together. He's a really important part of the team.
That's really good to hear, just because, obviously, it is a side of the game that is so important now, the pre and post match reports and all these kinds of things. So just good to hear that is still something that we're, prioritizing at the club.
You won't get a better one, guys. Trust me, I've been around loads, but he's top class.
It's awesome. All right, so let's dive into obviously a fantastic season in PL2 last year with the under 21s, many of whom are now playing, obviously with you in the first team, and players that we've seen with the first team over this season so far. Can you just tell us a little bit about last season and kind of what you learned from a really successful season with the team?
Again, we spoke about it earlier. It didn't happen overnight. The year before that, when I came in, we finished bottom. We were bottom, but we closed the gap a little bit. And again, we felt that there was probably a few characters still in and around the place that we didn't necessarily think that were beneficial to the changing room or to the football club. So over the next 18 months became a process of, building the 21s out in terms of players coming up, recruitment, first and foremost, the right characters, really important. That's the most important thing for me. What are they like as people? And if there's any doubt, I don't even entertain it. And then over that 18 months, we put together a really decent squad. And then obviously last year, then when we came together, we'd been together quite a long time. They'd worked really well, and they had a season. They had the season they did because they were, number one, they were together, and they were loyal to each other. There was no animosity if you didn't play. It was a really good family vibe.
Mm.
The togetherness that we created and the feel good factor that we had was a really big part of what we achieved. But then they went out on the pitch and they delivered. So that was the important part. But we just gave them the scaffolding and we helped them as much as we could, and we gave them the ideas and they went and executed it really well.
Yeah, definitely. So to hone in on a particular match, not from last season, but from this season, I don't know how many coaches at your age have a win against Ajax on their books, on their record, obviously.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the game against Ajax and the keys to victory there?
Players, first and foremost, the players turned up. We had a game plan. We went through it the day before. It was probably one of the few days where we got the players together, because it's very hard at that level, especially with how integrated our groups are. Even like today in training, we've got under 17s, under 18s training with the first team, which is what we have to do at this moment in time. It's what we have, and that's where we're at. But we got together, we went through the game plan, we watched the pre-video, and then we went out onto the training ground. We went through it with a few of the other players in terms of 11v11, which is again very rare for us to get that. And the intensity we played at, the belief the boys had, that we gave them the belief to go, listen, we can go and beat these. We just got to play our game, start our way, do it our way, and we'll make them change for us. So I think it's quite interesting after the game, you sit down and have a meal with the team. Obviously, they weren't very talkative. They were lovely, but they didn't want to really talk to us.
Yeah.
It's fine. But then 2 days later, you come back, you have a Zoom with their coach, their head of the academy, and they were really complimentary of us and how we played and how we went about it. They were trying to say the game was really great for them because of their 16-year-old came and produced, and I was happy to go back with the trump and say, well, he wasn't as good as their 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Who was man of the match, I thought, on the night, who played against their best player and done really well. It was nice. It was really good conversation, and they were really like, listen, if you ever want to come over, please come over, come watch us train, come get involved. We'd love to have a meal and stuff. So it's a really nice, it's a really good competition. Really, really good. But that, in terms of the game, it was a fantastic night, just for not just for our boys, but for the club and the academy. So it's so important to us, and it's integral to how the club would run over the last 20 years, 30 years. And the fruition of that was last year. How many players kept the club probably going. In months when we didn't think it would, and the players we've sold to big clubs, and it's a credit to people like Michael Jokes and in the whole academy building. Everyone that's involved, Rob Shea, Peter Scott. You go all the way down through the 18s, the 16s, the 15s. Some of these guys don't even get to us, and they're sold, for big money. It's a credit to the football club, how they do things, how they run it, and long may it continue.
How looking at the current crop of under 21s, but obviously them, bridging the gap between that and the first team. How confident are you that the bulk of those players can kind of mix it in League One? And I don't want to talk about outgoings because we can't, no one can control that, and certain fans we can't. But if that came to pass, how happy are you with where the under 21s are in terms of them stepping into first team League One football potentially?
Listen, guys, it might not be a choice. They might just have to come. That this is the game we're in right now, and this is the situation at the football club. So for us, we have to prepare for every scenario. That's why we're trying to fast forward. I mean, the training. We're trying to up the tempo because it's League One's not easy. And it's a physical league. It's it's a ruthless league, and we've got to make sure that we keep as many players, of course, as we can in Jan. We want to keep everyone together, the squad we have now. Obviously, adding to it right now is impossible with the embargo, but you just don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed something happens with the club, and you'd never know. But for us, it's important that whoever we put in, that we make sure that they're well prepared and they can only do the best they can do.
Yeah.
We give them the confidence and the belief to go out there and deliver, and try sacrifice themselves for the team, which is what we're saying. We've got to do. Everyone's got to sacrifice now for the team. Simple as that, and that's how we straight away we got to find the next 3 points and go from there and build and take it every day as it comes, every game as it comes, and go from that kind of a view, because right now you can't look too far ahead. We can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible because no one knows. It's probably one of the few clubs in this situation where there's an uncertainty. So it's important that we just stay focused on the now, what we have in the present, who's coming back in the short term, who's in the building now, and what we can use.
Yeah, definitely. And players around that age too, I feel like can surprise you. It goes into that old adage, if you're good enough, you're old enough. One of the most important players for Reading this season has been Andre Garcia at 16 years old, so just the work that's going on in the academy just goes to show, how much it has really helped push the team forward on the field this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think young Andre found it tough the other day. It was a tough game for him. He's up against a really direct and strong player, and it's great learning from him.
Yeah.
Really great, really good learning from him. Like tell him, it's if anything, we're developing these players at a rapid rate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's great for me to watch the player like Andre Garcia. Obviously, he is a defender, and so his first responsibility is defense. But the energy and creativity and braveness that he has on the ball as well, I think there's a part of that that's your individual talent, but there's a part of that that's the license that's given to you by the the coaching staff through your academy career as well as your as through your professional career. So I think that's great to see.
Yeah. Listen, he takes and deals with the ball really well, doesn't he? He can move, he can glide. So yeah, he's a fantastic talent.
Yep. My the 12-year-olds that I coach get annoyed when I bring them clips of Reading to watch rather than Mbappe and all of these kinds of guys. But I have shown a few clips of Andre Garcia this year to my to my youngins, and they do like him. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant! That's good.
In terms of the season, well, I say the season ahead, but the 5 months or whatever we've got left of the season. What have you kind of set targets for the players in terms of league finish and league position? Have you kind of said, well, this is where we want to be? Is it as simple as just staying in the league? Like, where have you kind of pitched that with them, or is that not that conversation?
Yeah, no. I think we've all been on the same page inside the building for the last 6 months. That it was going to be another tough season, and there's going to be like really good spells, and there's going to be a couple of bumpy spells as well. And that's what you get at this level, at this league. The goal from the start of the season, we sat down, everyone as a staff in terms of the first team. It was just to get to 50 points, get to 50 points as fast as we can. And then we'll see where we're at with that. It's important that we don't get sidetracked from that. We give ourselves a decent chance now, and I mean, we've got to add to that and try look for that next win, and the next points on the board, and then we move on from there. And when we get there, then we can start looking right what's next. But that was a tally first. We get to that magic 50 points mark, and we can go from there.
Yeah. Definitely. Sorry, Ben. I was just reading your message about which question to go for next.
That's like 10 minutes ago, mate. Useless.
No, you're
this is
good.
what I'm working with now, right? This idiot here, like honestly, he's just not on the ball. No, I think you're right about the 50 points. Like that, we had a lot of debate in the summer about where we thought we would be, and Ross thought we'd be champions, and I said we'd be lucky to stay in the league and all this kind of stuff. But like there has been. I think what has been encouraging is that there has been a lot of debate within the fan base about what's happening on the pitch in terms of players and stuff like that. And obviously we can't get away from the elephant in the room in terms of the off the field stuff. But like in terms of league finish and where we find ourselves at the moment, which is what, 7th, I guess, something around that line. it's great to dream about the playoffs and potential being higher up the league rather than looking down. And I think you're right. I think 50 points, get that done and dusted, and then see what happens from there, because it is, like you said, it's a tough league, right? We were shocked last year about how difficult it actually was, given how we started the season, but also just the general, let's say brutality, but the physicality of the team, the experience, the managers that are dropping down into this league as well, the quality and experience there. So yeah, I think, the sooner we get to 50 points, everyone can say relax. That's not quite right, but kind of breathe a little bit and go, well, that's the next target, So it's I think that's a fairly sensible way of looking at it, to be honest. And as a fan, I want to get to 50 points as soon as possible, because it's highly unlikely that you're gonna end up in trouble with 50 points. So long may that continue, really.
Yeah.
Ross, you got a question about Shamrock, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. I got to visit.
You had to
Shamrock
get this in.
Rovers.
You had to get this in.
I did. Yeah. Sorry, I got to visit Shamrock Rovers. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a game, but I believe that's where you started your career, over in that part of Dublin over there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've had a pretty good showing in the Conference League.
Yeah, they've been great.
They've been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about starting your career with Shamrock and Rovers, and have you been following their European run?
Yeah. I actually the manager lived with me for a little while.
Oh yeah, wow.
Stephen Bradley, wow. In Scotland. We played together in Scotland at Dunfermline. He's a great guy. A club that gave me my strange when I played against him in a friendly. For Waterford, where I was from, which is about 100 miles south of Dublin. And I ended up scoring in the game and creating a goal. And at the end of the game, the manager was like, "Have you signed?" I was like, "No." And he was like, "Would you like to sign for us?" I started laughing, because I thought he was not really serious. But when I met my mum and my mum's partner, who was a big part of me in terms of my footballing career. And they'd done a deal, and I went to Shamrock Rovers, moved to Dublin, and came back on loan to Waterford for 6 months. Then went back, started the season with Rovers, and played pretty much every game that was available for. Got to a cup final in Ireland, and got sold then to a team in Scotland. So I've got massive memories, fond memories. We used to train where they play now. We used to jump the gate to train because the pitch was perfect. The stadium wasn't built yet. The stand was half built, but we used to have to someone would come before us, cut the gates, the bolts open at times, and we'd go in and have a training session on the pitch, which was lovely. And they moved in probably 18 months after that. But I remember some great memories at Rovers. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, fun. It was I visited briefly a couple months ago. It's just
in Tallaght.
Yeah, in Tallaght. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'm glad you said that first, because I didn't want to take a go at the pronunciation first and butcher it.
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely little club. There's another, there's an AstroTurf right next to it now.
Yes.
So my wife and I got off the plane, and my wife gets dragged around all my football stuff, and immediately was dragged straight to the football ground. There was a football nearby, so we were able to play right outside. So
lovely. Perfect. Yeah. Well, it's the biggest club in Ireland, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Let's be right. Yeah,
great club.
Definitely. No, I had the choice to go over there or Bohemians. It was straight to Shamrock Rovers.
Brilliant. Good choice.
Yeah.
Final one before we let you go. I mean, obviously, games are coming thick and fast now. Obviously, Northampton on Boxing Day, Mansfield on Sunday. Crazy. Seems like a crazy day for football, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously off to Cambridge on New Year's Day, I believe. His day. Yeah, they're coming thick and fast. Away from that, what kind of plans have you got for Christmas and over the festive period? And also, what is the best Christmas film?
For me, it'll be work. Right now I find it hard to switch off.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm gonna have to deal with later on down the line. It's just obsession of making sure that we've left no stone unturned, and without giving too much detail to confuse the lads, making sure we get all the relevant ones in. So we'll train in the morning. We're going to start a little bit earlier because obviously the boys do have families, and you gotta appreciate that. And also we get in, make sure our work is done thoroughly, and then we let the boys go home. And then it's ready to rock for Boxing Day. So in terms of that, for me, I'll get home tomorrow. I'll try probably wrap a few sneaky presents that I haven't got to yet. Then I'll enjoy the morning with the guys in terms of my family. I've got two beautiful young girls. I'll enjoy the morning with them, and then afternoon, evening, I'll start switching on to the game and making sure that I've watched them at Northampton again. And obviously, just got appointed a new manager today, which would be a bonus for them.
Bloody Kevin Nolan. I was there when you and Jason Roberts tore it up Upton Park. Great, honestly, great day. Great day that was. To see Kevin Nolan in tears, or almost nearly in tears, was great. And that was the start of it. That was the start of the absolutely 2 months or so, month and a half, where we just went on a rampage, didn't we?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was a good time. Amazing time. So it'll be important that we I'm fully focused on that.
And favourite Christmas film?
That's tough.
You can't beat that. You say, but I love my little girls love the Home Alones.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Home Alone's is a big favourite here. The newest one would be is it the Christmas Chronicles?
Yeah, my daughter, she loves that. Yeah, I've not seen it.
Like it. Yeah, my girls love it. To be fair, it's decent.
Okay. I thought Muppet Christmas Carol was going to come out. That was going to be...
I'm a Lampoons guy. Love that. It's one of my best films ever, let alone Christmas films. It's just hilarious.
Well, hopefully you have a little bit of time to actually watch one, though.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Listen, Noel, thank you so much for joining us. On the day before Christmas Eve, 400th episode as well. Like, it's a milestone for us, and we wanted to start in with you coming on. But it's been great chatting to you, really has, and really appreciate everything you're doing and the staff and everyone really. And we just keep going, like I said, just keep going, just keep doing what we can do.
Gotta keep moving forward.
Yeah. Have a really good Christmas, and thank you so much for coming on. Thanks to our listeners. I hope you've enjoyed a kind of an early Christmas present talking to Noel Hunt, first team manager, in terms of what we're trying to do here, and fingers crossed for a really hefty points haul, if you like, over the festive period. Look after yourselves. Take care. Happy Christmas if you celebrate, and we will see you for episode 401 in a couple of days' time after the Mansfield game. So take care. Thanks, Noel. Thanks, Ross, and we'll see you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Come on, Reading.